Hi. Right, today I'm just going to do a bit of a talk about family estrangements. Now, the reason that I've decided to start talking about this is I've seen quite a few videos lately on YouTube talking about family members who have become estranged from other family members. And a lot of them, there never ever seems to be a conclusion or a solution to the particular issue. Now, I myself have been through a bit of a family estrangement over the years. The one I'm thinking of in particular was with my sister, which occurred when my mum passed away about 9 years ago. Now, it wasn't nice, it was not a good time, and I went through quite a bit of upset over this with my sister, and nothing was really ever resolved, but we went for quite a period of time where we've made no contact with each other, and I've always sort of had it in my mind that, I don't really care, I'm not going to go out of my way to make contact. So, I've always made this point of thinking to myself, I'm not going to be the one to go out and make any contact. Okay, here I am back again. Okay. Yes, a lady came along and that wanted to sit and have a chat for a while, so I obliged and we had a little talk. Our dogs had a run around, so that was nice. So anyway, now getting back to family estrangements. Now, I think I was saying that I used to have this sort of a estrangement with my sister following my mum's passing. She lives in another country, so communication was irregular. Once we got everything sorted out of mum's, there was just really, we just found no reason to contact each other, and we never did. I had visits from my nephew occasionally saying that he'd talked to his mum, trying to, sort of get her back on side again, but it really didn't worry me too much. I thought I've got more things in life to worry about than that sort of stuff. But as time's gone by, I keep thinking it doesn't bother me, but at the end of the day I think it does, because it's still family, and she's the only sister I've got. Mum and Dad are no longer here, and I've got my brother with me, but I've always had a good relationship even with her kids, which are now, they all live overseas as well, and I hardly ever see them. But the interesting thing was, a couple of, month or so ago, I just got a call from her out of the blue, and we just sort of talked away there, and I just carried on as if nothing had sort of gone on between us. And I was quite happy to do that. And I guess at the end of the day, it's almost like a relief to know that we are actually back on speaking terms again. Now, even growing up as kids, we weren't sort of that close. We were, a couple of sisters. We were the oldest, the two girls, we were the older, and then the boy was the younger one. But we were never sort of what you would call really close sisters. But still, it sort of played on my mind a wee bit that we still had this estrangement between us. And even now, we don't, we're not in touch that often, might send each other a text now and again, but at least the lines of communication have been opened again. And so this is why I thought about this today when I've been looking at other YouTube videos of people that have got estrangements between mums and kids and brothers and sisters, and I think about really how sad it is. I think probably whether or not it's the right thing to try and sort out what caused the estrangement in the start. And basically, I'm not sort of wanting to put fault on it, but what was the trigger that started the estrangement? Now, there's probably a lot of things you can think about. Someone might have said something or done something, or someone's misinterpreted something that's been said. But often it leads to ongoing situations that possibly should have never ever happened in the first place. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, if you can actually get to the bottom of what caused the estrangement in the start, try and come to terms with who do you believe is the one that should be reaching out, and who is the one that maybe needs to, I wouldn't say apologise, but I know it's very hard, because when two people are estranged, neither of them want to admit that they are the ones that caused it, or it's something that they did that caused it. But if you can overcome that stage and try and find out or come to an agreement on what a misunderstanding was all about. I know some of these go back to childhood. I know they go back to, especially with mums and kids, or dads and kids, they can often go back to kids believing that they've been hard done by as they were growing up, and not had such a good relationship perhaps with their parents that they would like to have had. But it's really hard to try and often pin down just what the cause of that was at the start, and for anyone to have the gumption basically to stump up and say, look, I think I was at fault here. Maybe we can talk this through and sort of clear the air between us. I'm going to have to shout for Bailey. You little shit. So I'm back again after chasing my dog. He disappeared into the bush and I had to go and chase him. He was chasing some birds in there. Weren't you? Are you down there? Look up here at the camera. No, you're not going to. Okay, so yeah, back to estrangement. Now, yeah, I know that estrangement happens for a number of reasons, and it can go back to, when people are young, and it's not only even with family, I mean with friends and things like that. When you've been really good friends, it's really hard to ever get to a stage where you think, oh God, I really enjoyed that friendship and I miss it. I wonder what went wrong, and what can I do to make things right again. Sometimes you just have to sort of tuck in your pride and make that first move to try and get some solution to whatever the situation is. Now, I know I sort of started here talking about family estrangement, and that's basically what I've been watching a lot of on YouTube, and I just think it's just sad. It would be really nice to hear some positive stories about how people have become estranged from other family members, and how there was a reconciliation, and how they got back together and were able to sort out what the differences were, and sort of look back and think, now, that was a bit of a silly thing that we did. How many years have we wasted of our lives that we could have spent in a better relationship than having this idea that none of us are at fault, or the other one's at fault, and they should have come to us to try and put things right. Now, I do believe that some situations can never ever be fixed, and that's really quite sad, but I guess that's just a fact of life. But I think it really needs, at times you really need to look into your inner self and think, is this really worth all the pain or the discomfort or whatever it's causing to have this thing continue? And I think, to be able to look back and think, I did my best and tried to put this right, and we succeeded or we didn't succeed, but I think just to try and make that effort. And I think at times where very reluctant to look at ourselves and think that maybe that we were the problem. And I think if we can overcome that idea and try and take a an objective view of things rather than a subjective view and think, I know that I was right. If you take an objective view and think of it, how would a stranger look at the situation? Would they come to the same conclusion that I have? So that's just my ideas for the day, thinking about just families. Families are important, especially in this time of chaos in the world, all sorts of stuff going on. You never quite know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I think it's really important that the people that are dear to us, that we stay close to them and make sure that everybody's okay. And that basically includes family and friends and things like that. So that's my little talk today, and if anyone's got anything that they'd like to offer on that, any ideas or what their situation was like, I'd be interested to hear. But if you've got any value out of this, I'd like it if you would like, comment or share, or even subscribe to the channel, because I've got more ideas coming up that I'm going to talk about in the near future. Okay, that's it for me. Stay safe, everybody, and take care. Bye.